Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Launch Network. This is Carmen Dinisco. We are here. We are ready. We are set to go. We are going to kick the tires, light the fires with the Made in America show with Mr. Christopher Guerrero. What's happening, Chris?
Hey, Carmine, how we doing on this beautiful Thursday? I want to say afternoon. It was morning a little while ago, but I think it's afternoon now.
I know, it's crazy. You know, it's funny. The listeners don't realize, you and I have been on here for almost an hour talking. We forgot to start the show.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's such a pleasure working with you, Carmine. I love talking to you about all the different aspects of the business and manufacturing. So thank you. I really appreciate you.
No, I thank you, man. Just let our listeners know. I appreciate you guys listening to the shows. Go ahead and subscribe. Check it out. We got a lot of cool stuff. And I think that's what's taken us so long, Chris, was, we have so many other things that are in the background and things we're planning to, roll out over the next several months. And I think that's what makes it so exciting, not only to have the show going, but to be able to announce these things as we progress through them.
Yes, I agree 100%. We talked in the previous segments a little bit about launching in America and the different products, and if it's okay with you, I thought today maybe we talk a little bit about how I view manufacturing and the different steps to really get a true lean, efficient manufacturing operation, which brings the best bottom line cost and the speed to market, which are both two really key points.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I have gotten some calls and some emails from some of our listeners asking, what's that process? We were hearing Chris talk about this. What's the preparation? How do I get started? And, what are those key steps involved to not only bring a product, say, made in USA, but to be able to manufacture it at a low enough cost and deliver it and get it to retail? So I would love for you to kind of step through those.
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of different steps in lean. And anytime I start with talking about efficient manufacturing, I try to break it down to the simplest form so that anybody can truly understand it without having to understand Six Sigma and really some of the first piece articles of inspection and critical characteristics. I start with an element called 5S. It's 5 S's, and some people look at that sometimes and say, isn't that just cleaning? It's not. I use that in everything I do. It truly starts with, and I'll name them for you, with sorting it out, right? And setting things in order, shining the area, standardizing, so no matter who's doing it, it's the same, it's consistent, and then sustaining what you've already achieved. So, when I say sort, what does that mean? In the corporate world, I've spent more time cleaning up companies than I thought I ever would have to do. Some companies have been around so long and created so many bad habits.
Yeah.
The first step really is just sorting out what you're not using. I would say sort it out, put it in an area for 30 days, tag it, red tag it, come back to it in 30 days. If you didn't think you needed it, get rid of it. If you think you need it, you bring it back into the process. And that's where it starts. It starts with truly sorting it out. So when you're talking about inventions, it's the same thing. I talk to so many people who have different ideas. It starts with fine-tuning to what that design should look like before you even want to manufacture it. And then you can incorporate some of the key elements of manufacturing in that design so that once you launch it, it becomes transparent, it flows.
It's amazing. While you're talking about this, it's so ingrained in your head and it just flows out of you. A lot of people, myself included, when I first hear this lean and manufacturing and sorting and all those things, you wonder, that's for big companies. Why? I mean, how does that pertain to me? I'm just a lowly inventor.
Yeah, I take it all the way home. I wish I could have my kids on the line right now. I think I've incorporated that back in the day into their homework studying styles. And it's ironic because my older boy, now who's 28, is really taking it really strong, and he's taking it to a new level in the company he's at. And he thinks like that now. And that was him working with me for 2 years, right? But like anything else, people think, what does that matter? My youngest, when we were launching some of the products, I would watch him, do some of the process, and he was walking. And I always ask, anytime I see somebody in a plant walking, why? And they say, well, I'm going to go get a box, or I'm going to get a part. And I just keep going, why? Why do you do that? Well, because the part is in another department, or the boxes are in another section. And I just go, why? Why don't you have all of that streamlined? Anything you're going to do at the press, that's where the money's being made. That's the capital expense. That's where the value of your product, that's what the consumer is paying for. It's what's being produced at the press. So at the press, you should have everything that you need. I mean, we talk about 8 waste, right? That goes hand in hand with 5 S's. And when you talk about 8 waste, you're talking about things like transportation, over-processing, weighting, motion, all these different features that affect cost. So when I look at the 5S, I start with that because it's the most basic form that anybody and everyone can understand how you can apply wasted money and increase your cost by not following simple, organized skill sets that should be inherent to doing it right from the start, not later and fix it. So when I talk to my kids about walking, I say, listen, if you can get that part to come out of a press, and then you can now add all the value add features to it, put it in a box, and ship it without anybody touching it or any other motion, you have an inherent built-in quality process that you know you can repeat, and you will continue to get good products at a value that a customer is willing to pay for.
Mm. That repeatability seems like, and I've heard you talk about repeatability, that seems like that's what really builds quality, to be able to repeat the same process over and over and be able to deliver, not only obviously builds quality, but it allows you to deliver that product. I mean, you can't help but getting faster at it, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you, how many places that I know that and try to inspect quality in. It's just not possible. I mean, there's like a rule that says 80-20. You're going to miss 20% of the time. So if you're the consumer you're one of the 20%, you're not happy. So talk about like world-class manufacturing and parts per million. The quality levels are finite, right? You're making it right every time, no matter who's making it. And that's part of cross-training in the facility. That's part of having people understand that you want to produce it once. You want to produce it the quickest as possible. You want to have the best quality built into the process that gives you the best chance to produce high volume, low volume, no matter what levels, always a good quality product. And that's all inherent. Again, it starts with a simple process of 5S. You sort it out, you get rid of all these things you don't need around you, you set it in order, have areas where things go. Boxes should go here, pallets should go here, the manufacturing floors are marked. You know that a pallet goes here. It's a 4 foot by 4 foot pallet. It goes here every time you build this. You clean the areas so nothing is out of line. It looks good. The equipment looks good. It's like washing your car, right? After you wash it, for some reason it always drives better. It's right? It's just that feeling. Then you have to standardize it. So no matter what shift you're running it, no matter what operator you're using, it's always going to run the same way. And then every step of the way that you achieve success, you have to make sure you sustain it. So you continually hit that goal every time before trying to improve another area or a bigger section. And it works. It works. You get buy-in from the people that you work with. They bring it at home. They see it helps them. They find that in the end, they're rewarded because their life has now gotten better. It's gotten easier and it's simpler to do, and they can produce quality all the time.
Wow. That's that
repeatability. It's critical.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, and the thing is people expect that from you, and you're building it into the process. It's not like the process has been there, like you had said, for 20 years, and you're coming in and you're going, here, we got to change this. I love what you're doing at your plant because it's expected. It's built into the process, and you're just going to be finite changing it to make it better. I think that's one of the things that's great about what you do for new products that come in.
Yeah, and think about like if you're buying it from abroad, or even even just building a lot of inventory. And this is where I'm not a big inventory guy. That's another one of the eight waste is too much inventory, right? Over processing, too much inventory. But think about it, if you're bringing it and you need to build 100,000 units, 10,000 units, whatever the number might be, and you have to put that somewhere on water for 60, 90 days. And then you have to transport it to a warehouse. And then you have to open it up and inspect it. Think about all those steps that I just mentioned. That's not value stream. That's all wasted value, right? That's added cost to your process. And then what if you do get the product and it's not to the quality spec that you thought you were getting? You have two opportunities there. You have to rework, again, more cost, or you have to scrap and rebuild, more cost. It's a road. I've been there. I've seen it. It's a dead end road. So I, at least in my training, you know, come from the automotive industry, which I think is some of the best training in the world. I know it's the best training in the world. People like Ford and BMW, that you're fine tuned to, I can see things before they happen. And that's, I think, a real critical point of developing a product for manufacturing and be able to build it successfully at the lowest price so that you can get to the market fast and keep it in the market. Nothing's getting returned because there was a quality issue or a blemish. You're producing a high level, high quality product that your consumer will love.
Wow. That's awesome. It's funny. It reminds me of a story. When I was a kid, there was a manufacturing plant just down the road that made some automotive components, mostly metal, like springs and rims and different things. I mean, it was this crazy plant, fire and melting metal. But I was a kid and I used to watch. But you would have gone in there and basically fired everybody because you saw everybody running stuff. They had a cigarette in their hand. You know, they're sitting around talking and conglomerating. You know, you wonder how anything got done back then.
You know, I always talk about, and this is like beautiful for me to finally have my family at some point work with me and see the before pictures, the before financials and the after pictures and financials. And then like live part of that change. It starts with really, nobody knows the process better than the people doing it, right? They might not know the right system to get you the best value, but they know the process the best. So I start simply with building a relationship, especially in the corporate world, build a relationship, really understanding the process, because everybody wants to do a good job, understanding what they need, and then developing really a proprietary customized system for that company, or that process that they inherently can be part of. It's not like I came in and said, make that change, make this change. No, I have the systems, I know how to do it. I'm able to train that so that there's leaders in the groups that they inherently start working every day in a more efficient environment. And really in the end, they benefit. There's bigger bonuses, there's better pay increases, right? So that, and the company grows. The bottom line gets better, the sales increase because now you can turn the inventory over faster, and it's a win-win for everybody. And in the end, they're proud of what they've accomplished. They look back, here's a before picture of a process and a cell, you know, an assembly line, and here's an after picture, and here's the data to show before and the data to show after. And, you know, I talk about it. For 30 years I've been talking about it. Now my kids worked with me and saw it firsthand, and they got a chance to hear the people say how much they love working at what I've done to make their life better. It's incredibly rewarding for me.
Well, I think that it's rewarding for most people, and from my experience, and everyone wants to get a good paycheck. There's no doubt. We all want to make money, but I feel that team members, they also want to feel pride in their work. They want to see what they're doing is making a difference, and I think by what you're building into that process is giving them that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't tell you like the relationships I've built over my career. You know, I had somebody recently that I used to work with BMW in the 90s, right? I'm back down here now, and we've never lost touch. We've stayed in contact. I guess him and Brandy, you know, had a conversation. The man said he would take a bullet for me. How many people you know in your life? And I wasn't there. He said that to Brandy, how much he respected me, what I had done for his personal life, and the connection, the bond that we have built over the years. You know, that's, to me, you can't pay me enough money, right? I mean, that is a sense of pride that people take. They see that someone wants to help them, and they take it to another level, and it's rewarding. Yeah. Rewarding for me, and to see people grow. And I've been able to stay in contact with most people that have been a key element of my life, and it's the biggest reward I could ever receive.
That's awesome. I think that is great. It's a great feeling. You know what you're because you know what you're doing is working, and we all want to feel that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very
Yeah,
cool.
and we talked a little bit about some of the launches we did that, at Walmart and having to have certain things done in 2 weeks. That can't happen if the processes aren't in place and the systems, aren't working. They have to be working. Yeah. That means not just in the plant that you're providing the product and the service, it's also the suppliers. Because, in the plant, like for example, on this particular one, we injection mold the product and we do value add assembly, but the value add assembly, some of the products come from the outside. So those vendors and those suppliers have to be in tune also with your thinking. Yeah. So when I look at suppliers, BMW has taught me a great deal about having a base close to you, because if you're having suppliers shipping things from California, it's not possible unless you put it on a plane, right? But if you're local, I like to use that 30-mile radius. If you're local and people, you need something quick, you can get it delivered and driven to the plant. It eliminates days, and that could be a difference of making or breaking a contract. So, it's just not just the people in the plant. That's the key, the heart and soul, but your supplier base has to be in tune to what your expectations are as well. And I feel like with this whole Made in America initiative, we have that now. We have good, trusting suppliers. We have good, trusting partners that want to do the right thing and want to make sure that you can be successful and they can be successful by helping you.
Yeah. I like what you're talking about because you're not really trying to convince them. I love when they see it working because, you're going to get naysayers. Even I'm skeptical of things sometimes. But Absolutely. When somebody's telling me I have to do something, it's much different than when I learn and I see that it works. So it's great that that's how you are approaching it.
Yeah, it's a buy-in. I always even telling my 28-year-old now, no matter where you go, your first step is getting people to buy into your vision. Yeah. Anybody can come in and bark an order and it just doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You start building relationships, you start caring about people. Truly, it becomes a new network. It becomes just a trusting, understanding relationship. You watch people get better. You watch people grow. Then it becomes a system you developed that these individuals are working in, and they'll even fine tune it and make it even better. And then you start seeing the fruits of all the things you've seeded and laid out. You start seeing it all come to reality. Now you've got a group of people wanting to do the right thing, making sure the product is being completed quickly and at the highest level of quality. And they're using some of these systems like 5S and the removal of the 8 waste and understanding, and they grow in a company, they bring people with them. Then it becomes this large company that has a culture. It truly is a culture change. You've got a paradigm shift in how they think, but you've got a different culture on that. Not doing it right the first time is unacceptable. It has to be done right from the start. You're not going to produce it later and hope to inspect it in. You're going to produce it now and ship it out. Know the quality is right. That's the mindset. That's the overall dynamics of the system. Seeing that change, and man, I'll tell you that is so powerful when a group of people are pushing that forward, and it's happening. The company just continues to grow. The bottom line gets better, and there's no limit to the ceiling.
Yeah, and the great part about it, as new team members come in, they see that what's being done. They don't know. You might have implemented it a week prior, but those new team members, they come in and they're expected to jump in because they think that that's how it's been done. So they want to make sure that they're doing it correct. And as new team members on top, and as team, it's kind of like a generational thing. It just grows to where everyone has bought in just right from the beginning.
Yeah, you know what I find when I have big meetings and big visitors. So if Walmart wants to come to the plant for an audit, I might set it up and start the meeting, but I have the individuals that are responsible for the lines actually walk the key buyers or the key executives through the plant to explain it. That gives them complete buy-in, initiative of pride, and it shows the outside world that these people inside know it, they understand it, and they're completely bought in and making sure it's delivered successfully.
That's awesome. It's a great way to do it because then they take pride that, it's just not you saying, oh, I'm going to take responsibility for all these things. So that's awesome that you do that.
I never take I never take credit. I'm responsible for all of it, right? But I don't take any credit for it. That's how I look at it. Credit belongs to the individual that's running the line. And I just find that works. And then they start really looking at signage. Like part of the 5S is making sure everything's visible, right? You talk about like Walmart talks about someone walks through a store, they want their retail package to be visible within 5 seconds, right, from 5 feet away. It's the same thing in a plant. You want to be able to walk in and know that you're in an assembly cell, right? Everything's labeled. The floor is laid out where the pallets go, where the boxes go, where outgoing shipments are going. So the whole plant is all visible. There's no confusion when you walk in, what you're producing, what parts being made. On top of the injection machines, we have timelines. We track downtime. So like if you're doing a single minute exchange now, you're doing quick changeovers on tools, we want to know that the goal is 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And if the machine's been down for 15, why? So there's always a reason for it. And then to improve, so you continually stay focused on making sure that capital items, capital equipment is running all the time. And again, all this talk today all feeds back to 3 elements, right? Lower cost, higher quality, and speed to the market. Essentially, that's what we're after. And all these things that happen behind the scenes that no one really understands or sees, we're able to deliver. And that's the key. We're not waiting 90 days. We're not waiting 24 hours to talk to somebody. It's on the spot when we need it and deliver.
Yeah. It's so cool, man. I love how this stuff just flows out of you because you live it. You're not making it up. It's true. You know it works, and no one's going to change your mind. I think it's awesome.
No, it's funny because when I really started, I came out of, I'm an engineer, so I started with product design and then tooling design. I was working for Ford. I'm on that 180 turn gas cap, which is one of the largest patents that they've had in regard to narrow permeation back in '93. And that was quite a bit of work with different suppliers and collaboration. But when I look back at learning lean back in '95, I'm taking on a plant that's growing, lots and lots of work. I'm new in a position, and now you're teaching me lean. I'm going to different countries. In the beginning, I'm like, how is this really going to help me? It seems like it's adding more work to my plate. Then once you really learn it and implement it, and then you see the benefits that you achieve from it, it becomes second nature. So now I've been doing this really since '95.
Wow.
And I see things, when I walk into a plant, I can see 10 things immediately. If you're not truly a world-class manufacturing operation, even if you are, I probably can point some things out. But it just comes natural now. I've been doing it so long, it's second nature to me.
Yeah.
That the flow of design work has to be in conjunction with material selection and manufacturing and process control, so you can achieve the lowest cost and the highest quality at the fastest speed.
Yeah, it's awesome. We only have a few minutes left. I want to get to a couple questions that were sent in from the last shows. But real quick question for you. What I love, and you probably do this too, is when I walk into a manufacturing plant, I can really usually tell if they're organized right away. But I love how clean these plants are these days. It's, going from the 70s and the 80s and into the 90s where, if it wasn't a big mess, they weren't busy. But now when you walk into some of these plants, you could tell they're running so smooth that there's nothing on the floor. The floors are shiny. Everyone's wearing, nice clothes. It's just a whole different experience these days.
And that goes back to that 5S. That is a part of it because it's not just cleaning, once a day. It's not just sorting once a day. It's sorting on the spot. You don't need it, get rid of it. It doesn't belong there. Don't put it there. Don't get used to having it there. My general rule is if you take a piece of pizza and throw it on the floor, you should be able to eat it. That's what I'm talking about, that level of world class. Wow. BMW is like that. Wow. It's that organized and that clean at the manufacturing plant, and that's been instilled. And I'm telling you, people aren't used to working like that. But when you finally get them to that, like you just said, you walk in, I can tell immediately by how the plant looks, if it's an efficient plant or an inefficient plant. And some people try to add cost to eliminate for their efficiencies. It's not the answer. You need to remove those, right? Remove those wastes and remove those roadblocks and those obstacles that give you the best cost. And you're dead on. it's a culture. It truly is a culture and a paradigm shift to get a plant world class. It takes 3 years. I've been able to do these plants that have been in trouble. Truly world class. That means your quality is the highest level, your cost is most efficient, the people are cross trained, they know what they're doing, and the best example is when the number one guy is out of the plant, it runs without him.
There you go. That's very, very important that you say that. You're exactly right.
Yep.
So awesome, man. This is great stuff. I had one question come in from our last shows, and you kind of answered it a little bit in this show. But if someone wants to send a product to you for either pricing out or getting an idea of if you can manufacture or not, what should they gather? What should be the best amount or information to send you, and what should they not send you?
Yeah, I would say the easiest thing for me to quote on something quickly is if you have drawings, step files, right? .stp files, CAD files. That's the simplest way because then we can look at it in 3D. Having what material specs is always good. I mean, but if they need some help with material selections, we can also do that. But the simplest form, if you've got a proof of concept, you think that works, and you send me some step files, some drawings to look at, we can evaluate it pretty quick.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. So, and that's, I kind of answered back, but I mentioned that I was going to put on the show because I think there's a lot of people that that want to send you their idea or their product, but they're just not sure what to send. So I think
now that's at a quoting stage. Now, I'd be talking about launching a product. That's a little bit different, right? That's more than a quote. Now you're talking about helping with design, helping with 3D models and tooling and process control, packaging, fulfillment, website, marketing. That's a little bit different because that's a bigger scale. That's a full launch. And I have processes, that address that as well, that we could look at on an individual basis based on what the design or what the invention might be.
Cool. Good, man. Well, I think that's going to help a lot of people know what they should prepare and what they shouldn't send you and what they should send you. So I think that's really cool. So we got a couple minutes. What's going on? What's happening with you? What's anything happening? Any cool projects you're working on that you can tell us about? Or are you going to be, well, we don't really have any shows, any virtual shows or anything you're doing?
We got another cool product. I'll show you, the tick remover.
Whoa.
So this is pretty cool. This is being produced in the same plant that I partnered up in the Northeast. It's got a lifetime guarantee. When's the last time you saw something that had a lifetime guarantee?
Yeah, not too often.
But the beauty of this product, and I say that now because tick season, like it's never going away, but it really starts around the corner. It starts becoming a real problem. You don't even have to touch the tick with this. You can actually, it'll take the tick, the way it's designed, it'll fold under the tick and remove it from your skin and or the pet, right? Without even touching it, and it keeps it intact. So if you had to have it evaluated for Lyme disease, you can quickly do that. So now we just have this. It's packaging's launched. This is going to be going on to Home Depot, just in the final stages of onboarding.
Wow.
And I'm going to take it across some of the retail planes. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool, small, ingenious product.
That is so cool. You love this stuff. I mean, that is right up your alley. You probably saw that and go, I'm all over this, right?
It is. I saw Steve working on it. I said, let me have that. Let's fine tune it and get it to the market. So absolutely. And again, it's small, easy to sell, right? Small space up on the shelves at the retail. And this could go anywhere, right? Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Walmart, Home Depot, all over the place. So yeah, this is a good one.
Wow.
We're really going to start pushing that pretty hard. We've
cool.
had a lot of fun this year. It's been a crazy year. I've been as busy as it gets. I've had a lot of things, some things I can't even talk about yet. I can't wait to talk about those items.
Yeah. I'm sure. No, that's awesome. I just love seeing those types of things because it shows that there's innovation all the time. Things that we don't think about that we're not touched by, tick remover. Yeah. So down here or whatever. But I know that there's innovation across so many different markets. Yeah. So it's so cool to be able to see different projects and products that, and it just makes everyone think, why didn't I think of that? Right.
Absolutely. That's the first step always. And, as we do these shows, we'll start talking a little bit more about, manual assembly versus automated assembly versus, injection molding, having a robot pull the part out versus an operator pull the part out. It all comes down to really, it comes down to volume, effectiveness of the product, and really the the value add as the parts being molded, what is being done on the outside, and all that is looked at from line balance. And so we'll continue to cover these topics as we go along, so people can truly understand that Made in America is really a good option now.
Well, it's alive and well, and the great part about it is, man, we are not going to run out of subjects with this.
No, I've got a list of items.
I'm sure.
So, and the audience, feel free to send in your questions, and we'll even do, if the question is detailed enough, we'll do a show on it. But we'll definitely cover it. There's I didn't even really get into the 8 waste yet. You talk about lean. There's elements of 5S, the 8 waste, value stream, right? Those are key elements in the heart of the process before you even start looking at first piece article and making sure the machine is at a 6 Sigma tolerance level, and you're running repeatable products through the press, and it's automated. So there's all different levels based on different volumes. We're just getting going. We're really just starting, Carmine, and this is there's going to be a lot of fun stuff to talk about as we drill down.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. My team members here are all mad because I'm now, after these shows, I'm trying to re-coordinate everybody. I'm trying to make everything run a lot more efficient. I'm driving them crazy.
Yep. Just always think of it this way: is a customer willing to pay for that step? And if it's walking across a plant, that's the easiest example. No, they're not, right? Or if it's, you start getting into hand motions, how many times are you moving when you're doing assembly, and it comes down to volume, what best suits. When you're low volume, that's even,
so important.
You can't hide it, right? The labor, you can't get that labor cost back. Once you've spent it, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you build too much inventory, you might be able to sell it, right?
Yeah.
Over time, but you don't get the labor back ever.
Yeah. Well, then you're playing catch up, but labor is one, if not the most expensive thing. Even not, and without the product, labor usually is the most expensive, right? Obviously equipment, but labor is expensive.
It's one of the key elements in what I look at and balancing a line and in process. Because if you add, like we talk about injection molding and having the value done on the outside, so it's the labor is already applied to that machine. So now if you have to add second and third labor sets, you've added cost to your part. Well, if you can eliminate that now and use the same labor to do the packaging, to do some of the assembly while that piece is being molded, I call it free. Nothing's free, but it really is. Yeah. You're not adding any additional cost. And it's all controlled in one section. So all of your manufacturing cost is narrowed down to one location. Then you've got your basic material costs, right? What it costs for a package, what it costs for, in some cases, the silicone pads we put on a super potty trainer, or what it costs, this is as simple as it gets. It's a molded piece, right? The tick remover. So all these different elements, the opportunity to eliminate your labor up front and to have it streamlined just gives you, again, it comes right back to controlling quality, giving you the best cost at the fastest speed to market.
Wow. That's awesome, man. So cool. I love it all. And I know that, as we do this, we're going to start getting some guests on. We'll start talking about some products, some projects. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're only, 3 or 4 shows in, and already we are covering a lot of things, and it's going to be really exciting.
I'm not kidding when I say in my career, that started in 1980. I must have designed and launched thousands of products. From levels of tier 1 level in corporate America, GM, Chrysler, Ford, right down to I've done things where faucets, Delta Faucet, Marine Outboard, Gabriel, Strut Systems, Monroe. There's so many big companies. And then, getting an opportunity to work for BMW, that's still to this day an experience that I treasure. The people I've met, the processes I've learned, the ability to, and we'll get into that in another show, but the level of stress on delivering components to an assembly plant in an hour and a half and having them on a vehicle within 2 hours is incredible. There is no room for error. And that truly is lean at its finest.
Wow.
Building what you need, when you need it, deliver it at precise timing.
Yeah. Well, that's the great part about it. I just love, being a person that deals with factories around the world. What I love about, the U.S. stuff is I can go there. and take a
Yes.
flight in a day. I can check out the factory. I can speak English to them in a sense. And there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
the factories that I work with around the world, but it's just nice
Right.
to me to know that I can go visit the factory. I can go check on something. Things are being done right there. So when it possible, yeah, I'm right with you, man. This is going to be such a great show. I'm going to love covering all these things.
And think about the pride of Made in America. I mean, it's everything any entrepreneur ever dreamt about, right? Is really developing it. It's a dream for me to be able to deliver. And again, it's products in America, but it's not for everybody. There's not every product fits that mold. But for me, anything that I take on, that's part of the requirement. I love the whole Made in America twist. You're adding jobs, people who have a lot of pride in it, and it just helps our own economy.
Totally agree. Very good, man. All right, well, we're gonna close up the show. It's gonna be awesome, and I know that we're gonna try and keep going on doing the show at least once a week if we can. Obviously, if we have to skip a day, skip a week here or there because there's a show or something going on, we'll of course let our listeners know. But as usual, please, as Christopher mentioned, if you have a question, if you have a project, if you have something that you would like us to talk about on the show, send it in to us. We would love to hear from you. I've already gotten some great questions in. We're answering them. I guarantee one of us, whether Chris or I, will get back to you. I guarantee we will answer your question, and we would love to hear from you. If you could go on out to Google Play or iTunes, wherever you consume your podcast shows, and make sure you subscribe to our show so you don't miss a single episode. For Mr. Christopher Guerrero, for myself, Carmen Danisco, we thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time on Made in America. You all take care.